well, here we are at Battlefleet Mars. All I managed so far was to get through that first turn, get ships, out of places where multiple people are in the same place. This is the first real turn of the game then. So first thing we do is the ship movement phase. And what we're going to see there, cometary orbits happen during transit allocation. You can slip out. So the key here is that ship movement, transit allocation, and then combat phase. You don't have to fight when you first sail into an area. And what we're going to do is just push all the ships up by one. So like, I'm going to do them in order here. These guys go to there. These guys go to there. These guys go to there. And etc. That's something that we're going to have trouble with. Some of these ships have arrived. Some of them it's no big deal. But like this is going to have to make a decision to fly out of there. That's fine. But this guy just arrived, and I'm going to give him a task force marker or something to indicate that I need to worry about him. He's going to need some kind of repairs or something. You have to pay attention when ships go into a new planet because they may need things. These guys do need something. I think they're the only ones who just landed who do. I could check 117 under Mars, see, yeah, those guys already have been cleared. But that's the movement forward. Now we go to the transit allocation phase, and I'll look at each of these different squadrons and see if anything needs to or wants to go somewhere else. Now remember, I'm going to be using the task force markers to mark locations of origins. I didn't do that on the first turn. I fucked up. I didn't understand what I needed to do to express everything that the game needs you to express. The other option, again, there's nothing in the rule book that tells you what to do with this, and this is one of the problems with the rules. The other option would be to use little pieces of paper or something to indicate where a task force started from, where its origin was. That looks like it's going to be a pain though, so I don't want to do that. The point really where a lot of decision making has to come through, and I think this is the real reason that I quit before, was I just felt like I was overloaded in terms of balancing choices as to what the hell to do, right? So I'm sitting here with a fairly large and prepared fleet at Earth. Now, this is turn 2 though. This is the turn I get missiles, isn't it? Which probably means that I want to retrofit ships with missiles. That's the tactical game one. I want to see if the tactical abstract tells me how I get the missiles. Beginning on the second game turn, Ares may now deploy missiles on friendly ships during logistics and maintenance phase. This, I don't believe, has any cost. It says 15.33. Yeah, I don't think there's any cost for it. What that means is I probably don't want to launch an Ares task force at this point from any base that I already have forces in, because during the maintenance phase and whatnot, I'm going to get to load a bunch of missiles on them. And then I'm going to have a combat advantage. But I can't launch this turn to take advantage of that. So I will look everywhere, and I'm making a landing here at Vesta. That is a fleet that I do not want to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out where they want to go. And I'll put the A task force here. And where is Vesta going to head to? I could just go in commentary. Like if I had another big fleet coming in, I was planning on trying to break this up, but I'm smaller. I just don't think I can do it. And I would like to get missiles on board. So where is Vesta? Vesta's here. Juno is not far away, but it's going to take me a couple of turns to get there, which to me means might as well just go to Earth, right? Juno doesn't look terribly well defended. Let's go to Juno. And I'll move this force here. It's going to be heading into the 2 box. And I've got my origin there. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll see if it is good enough. I don't know. All right, let's look at other possible places where we're at. And let's make sure we're going to get, yeah, political's there. Not launching anything from here, not launching from here because I'm not there. Launched from here, here. Not launching, I want to get my missiles. Not launching, I want to get my missiles. All done with the Ares Corporation. The Martians have a more interesting question because they are not going to get their fighters until turn 5. Which means maybe I want to launch a big attack, right? I got a fair-sized force at Mars. I got a fair-sized force here at Vesta. What would I want to do? That's a good question, to tell you the truth. I heard one player say he launched a big force. He played it once, and he launched a big force of Martians on like the first turn and was able to wipe out the Earth players. But he also said he wasn't sure who did it right. There's 2 things in play here. He may have been using the strategic combat table or the abstract combat table, which is more favorable to the attacker than playing it out on the tactical. He may also have done something wrong, which he admits. So, what do I need to do? Well, one of the things I need to do is I need to consider maintaining my open lines, right? So I have 1, 2. I need to get some catapults to Vesta. Okay. So that's something I want to do. Let's take a look. Where's Vesta? Vesta's here. Mars is as close as it comes to Vesta. So we'll measure that out. It's going to be a 2-turner, barely. Which means it would take like 3 turns to do it from Ceres or whatever, probably. So I am going to just launch a single catapult. This one's already equipped. Give that an A. Put that in Mars. And I'm going to program that out to be 2 turns out going into Vesta. That'll get me a catapult there. That's one thing. Other than that, Juno doesn't look terribly well defended. This isn't there yet. That just was placed this turn. How easily could I get a big fleet to Juno? And do I want to? Remember, the more asteroids you have, the more at risk you are of losing political favor. But on the other hand, you want to win battles and stuff. It's so painful. Juno is way over here. That's going to be a 3-turn flight from Mars, I'm guessing. Yep. Actually, it would come here to there. It is just barely. Actually, okay, let's try it this way. Let's see if we can line it up this way. So this would be in 1 turn. 2 turns, I think we actually make a 2-turn flight, because it's going to be here in 2 turns. So we could make a 2-turn flight out to Juno from Mars. That does not sound like a bad idea. How about we launch that? Again, I'm ignoring this because I don't know that's there. We could lose all of Mars this way. Risky. But our fleet is the larger right now, and this may be our only chance to gain something. I don't really want 3 asteroids, but what else do I fucking take, right? I'm not going to be able to bust Earth with the force that I've got, as far as I can tell. So then, what else can I send there? All right. Well, I've got my force in Vesta. What can I get from Vesta to Juno? Again, there might not be. Vesta to Juno is also a 2-turn run. I've got more ships coming. Yes, I know about these. But they're not very potent. So I am going to send this entire fleet from Vesta to Juno. And that will get a C. All right. Pallas I don't own. I don't have anything there. Ceres I own. How do I feel about Ceres? It's quite a ways from everything. Ceres to Vesta would be a 3-turn run. Ceres to Mars is a 2-turn run. Well, it's actually out like this. But Ceres to Mars would be a 2-turn run. I feel fairly safe sending some of the forces from Ceres there. I'm going to leave 2 catapults because, and I'm going to leave, I'm coming out with a bad count of ships. I'm going to leave 2 miners. I have to leave 2 miners, right? Did I just strip miners from somewhere that I can't afford to? Mars doesn't need miners. Mars needs catapults. Ooh. Who sent catapults from Mars? I have Ceres. I have more coming in. So I'm just going to leave 1 of these catapults back here. Because I need 2 catapults. I'm going to leave 2 of these catapults back there. That'll get me my mining and my Jupiter stuff. But still allow me to push into here. God, this is complicated, isn't it? Okay. What? I don't know where these were from. I've got these 2 mining ships. I think these were coming from Ceres, and they were going to go to Mars. And they will be another letter. I wanted to get these out there so that I can just feel like this is more centralized. I can operate more effectively doing that. Jupiter, I don't need miners. I do need a catapult there. I'm not sure I need 3 catapults there. Let's send a catapult to Mars, just to make sure we have forces getting to Mars. Let's do this. We trigger from there. Looks like we can get it in 2 turns without a problem. So that will be another letter set going from Jupiter to Mars. Okay. Now, at the same time, I could actually launch something like these guys who are going to Vesta. Now, where did they come from? I'm pretty sure I didn't launch anything to Vesta. So we're going to say they came from Mars to Vesta. There's a rule for backtracking. But where is Vesta? Vesta's out here. Yeah, I'd have to do the backtracking rule. I think that's going to put me in the 3 box for Mars. I don't see a reason not to. What is going on here? What the fuck? Why am I going to Vesta? Oh, I own Vesta. Screw that, man. I've got to get there. Okay. C was going from Vesta. Am I sending any... I've got miners going into Vesta. Okay. Yeah, it's all tons of miners going into Vesta, which is fine. Well, it's 2 miners and a catapult. That's fine. This other force, I'm fine clearing out Vesta because I didn't have a catapult in Vesta. So that's all right. This force, yeah, I want this going in there. I don't care if it's Mars or not. So I think I've programmed everything. I'm not really sure. You know, things like this could have diverged or whatever. It's going to get more complicated later on. Right now, they don't want to. They want to get to Earth and they want to get their missiles. Okay. Combat phase. Is anybody in the same place at the same time? The answer is, yeah. Hold on. He doesn't want to be here. He wants to go from Earth. What's close to Earth? Well, Vesta is close to Earth, and I've kind of denuded Vesta. So I'm going to head to Vesta. Even though that's a 2-turn, I could go to Mars instead. So we take another letter set. Yeah, this is going to be a nightmare. And we fly out from Earth to Vesta. I said 2 turns. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Now we go down combat. There shouldn't be anything that's there. I've got this N here to remind me that those need to do some sort of maintenance type action. So there's no combat, so we go to political interaction. Here we have to look at the sequence because they have a particular set of actions. So let's find it. During ship transit, agents may embark and debark from friendly ships and friendly bases to other friendly ships, etc. During ship movement, they can move with their ship. During political interaction, each player can expend points. Okay, so we get our points. And that's going to be 7 for Mars and 5 for Ares again. They lose whatever they had before. And then the first thing, I really wish they had this blown up so that I knew the sequence of the political actions. Has anything happened? Nothing has happened that would cause any changes in morale yet. Yeah. They're embedded throughout here, which is why that chart is so useful. So let's see the order here. Die rolls are made first on the Earth morale effects table. Okay. So what's going on Earth? I'm more interested in the Mars effects table, but I very much want to spend, he's going to spend. Both are going to spend their maximums. Okay. That makes it an even die roll on the Earth table. We get a 2, a truce. All right. That means we go to the truce table. Now, we've already expended both of our agents, so nobody has anything they can expend on the truce table. We get a 5. Truce mandatory. Cite Ares' choice. Okay. There's been no fighting, and now there's a truce. And this is why there's no combat on the turn. You don't have to have no combat on the turn of the truce because the combat phase has already happened. So, where does Ares want to hold a truce? This is interesting. If I hold it on Earth, people can come to Earth and land there. However, it seems like people can land wherever the hell they like. I'm going to take a pause and think about this and also look at the rolls. Okay, Earth has decided to declare the truce on Juno, or Ares has decided to declare the truce on Juno. The reason for this is I've got an agent there already. I'm not really sure how big a deal the negotiation table is. you know, I can keep the truce going. I can defeat the truce. It's kind of my choice. Right now I have a production advantage, but I also have the weaponry advantage coming very shortly, so I may not want this truce to last very long. I'm starting to keep a compendium of interesting stuff that happens on any given turn. I haven't been doing this much in games, but I used to like to do it, especially with big things like Europa Universalis, but I feel like I really do want to do it for this game because I can't keep track of everything that's kind of juggling in the air. All right, so that was the Earth morale table roll. Now we flip back, and I don't know what we can put where. You know, I can put another N over on Juno to indicate that that's where the truce is, but I've written it down. We hope we can remember. So the next thing we do is, really should be a little sequence of delay here. Fuck. Earth morale table, then possibly truth assassination, and then on the Martian morale effects. Okay, now we're looking at Mars. Now, here's the thing. If the Martian table doesn't generate anything interesting, there's not a lot of use for all these agents and the political points, which is kind of weird. We look at the Mars table. Both sides have 2 there. Now, if I look at the Mars table, there's possible Mars assassination attempt, but a sabotage attempt. The sabotage is still applicable on the turn that the truce is declared. It doesn't go into, the truce doesn't go into effect till next turn, so I could still do that. I don't really want Earth morale to go down. So I think both sides are going to pump 2 in, which means an even die roll. We get a 4. Earth morale goes down by 3. For no good reason. It just does. The Martians are happy. They're making, you know, claims and whatnot that are convincing to the people of Earth. All right. I think that's the end of the political interactions. You don't get an attempt to assassinate or anything like that unless you get it off the tables. So, yeah, we don't spend all our points is all that happens. Logistical and maintenance. Let's follow the order on this. I don't have it internalized yet. I will eventually. But we know the first thing that happens is that these move down, I think. I don't know. No, we don't know. We don't know a damn thing. Okay, at the start, any ship on the production are adjusted. There's no problem. Earth is able to adjust these. First thing I do, though, is I add these new ships on Earth. And they're going to come in with missiles. Martians, I also have stuff on the track. I have Jupiter hooked up. That's going to cost me one of my 2 connections. The other one will be Ceres. I don't have anything to Vesta, so I'm fine. And that will drop this down to 4. I will still have room for another ship that I could build, assuming I want to spend the money. Okay, let's see what the next thing in order is on here. We figure out logistics points that we're going to get. Okay, we have tons of catapults at Earth. No problem with that. Do we have catapults at any of our... We don't here. So Earth gets no more points. Mars is going to get 3 points for the Ceres connection. So they get that. I'm allowed to build new ships. Earth can't build anything. Mars could build itself some miners. Do I want to just keep pumping ships out? I mean, miners are the weakest of the ships, and I kind of don't want to create them. Like, I'd rather buy transports or whatever. I'm going to hold off and collect points for another turn. Now we handle the retrofitting of all these ships. And honestly, everything's going to get retrofitted on the Ares side because everybody's getting missiles. At least everybody who's at a base. Except for these, which I just put down, and they have their missiles. This has its laser already. All that's for free. But I do have to get them for all other ships. Get the missiles for all other ships in the game. And these guys just came in, and they're going to get retrofitted with their laser. All right, I think we're done with the logistics and maintenance. It's hard to tell. But I have I've erased a bunch of things, getting stuff over there. All the bases are equipped with their missiles now. But everything else is not, some of it's not fully armed yet. But it's like, there's all this effort in the first couple turns of the game. Through turn 5, when Mars is going to have to start doing it again as well. But there's just all this effort going on. Now, Earth may be more interested in the truce situation because they see a whole fuckload of Martian ships coming into Juno. So, this may actually be one of the impacts on, hey, keep that truce. What happens if you break a truce? Well, one, like we said, I do remember this. The other side can break a truce anytime they like at that point, or can refuse a truce anytime they like. I don't see any impact. I don't see any impact. What the fuck, man? Seriously, if you break a truce, what the hell happens? Effects of breaking a truce. Violates one of the special. If the Martian breaks it, here we go. Earth morale is increased by 6. Yeah, we don't want to break a truce. It creates something. But why don't I see that here? Well, this is obnoxious. So this is a summary of the morale index stuff, but it's not complete. This is the kind of place where you've got the, oh geez, what did you fuck up, man? They get the rules well, but they don't get that printed out nicely and handled well. So what are the costs of breaking a truce? If the Martian breaks the truce, Earth gets 6 morale. If the corporation breaks it, Martian morale goes up by 4 and Earth loses 2. If both sides simultaneously break, there's no issue. So I've got a situation where within a couple of turns, Juno could be attacked by overwhelming forces. I don't see anything else that's already launched. Remember, Ares was supplying their missiles and getting ready for an attack turn. What do we do? Do we set ourselves up with a counterweight to whatever this is? I don't know. All right. And now the very simple and mechanical task of moving all of these, which automatically changes what turn it is via Jupiter. What we see, I'm pretty sure there's a planet that has a reverse orbit, isn't there? Like there's one, but it may be very far out. For some reason I thought it was Venus, but I'm assuming it's not. Maybe Venus spins the wrong way. I don't know. A pity I don't have all my SFB stuff here, because I have shitloads of missiles for SFB. I have a Starfire set here, but the thing with the SFB stuff is I bought like versions of the game with counters enough times that I have duplicate numbered counters, so I could actually use them on the 3D chart in a way that I wouldn't normally use them. I don't normally use the numbers on the missile counters, the drones. Okay, spent a little bit of time wallowing in my autumnness today. All right, let's move on. Ship movement phase. Things are gonna get into position. I'll come back after the mechanical aspects of that, whatever those are. So I've put the ships kind of beyond the orbital areas where I have the letters and whatnot that have just arrived, because those require some special processing. Ship transit allocation. Now, I'm not allowed to land in certain areas. So, for example, this ship is not allowed to come into Vesta because I don't have, let's see, not that one, this one. Because I don't have, the truce is taking effect, and there are specific restrictions when there is a truce in effect. And I don't know what that does to me. Let's see what they are. No friendly ships may arrive at an enemy asteroid or planet. May be moved, i.e. may be moved into the ship transit box indicated it's at, so long as the truth. Exception 13.3. Ships may be in transit to a particular, they may not arrive there. I don't know what that means. Let's see what 13.13. So long as the truce in effect, a friendly ship containing agents can arrive. But I don't think I can prevent my arrival. And that's the thing. Have I just broken the truce just because? That doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem right. I should be allowed to turn around and leave, before I get within a certain range of it that's considered the danger zone. So I'm going to have to look at the movement rules and see if there's some kind of exception. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make something up, because it's just not right that, Ares breaks the truce on turn 3. They have no intention of it, but they've got pre-programmed movement and they can't do anything to fix that. I can tell this is another flaw in the game. So what it has here under ship movement phase, during the ship movement phase, all task forces are moved 1 box forward. Players have no options and make no decisions. Must be moved 1 forward. However, immediately following, we come to the ship transit allocation, which I think, as long as I run away, I'm okay. And that's what I want to do anyway. I don't have enough ships to be able to reach there, to be able to fight that. So let's consider the different movements we want to make. Again, I'm going to do Ares first and then Mars. These decisions are all supposed to be made simultaneously. There's nothing, again, in the game that allows you to do this. Like, they don't give you sheets to plot your ship transitions or whatever. They're all supposed to happen simultaneously, but they don't provide you with anything with it to express it. It's very problematic. I kind of can't see playing this game opposed, to tell you the truth, even though clearly it was designed that way with this with the rule that I was griping about before, in terms of hidden placement. So let's take a look here. These just arrived. I'm fine with that. However, I'm also fine with, like, my transport ships being sitting here at Earth, because we don't know how long this truce is going to take. We tried to make the truce at Juno, which is useful to us because we have an agent there and can spend a point on that. However, we don't know for sure what's going to happen. Do we want to launch an attack anyhow? Maybe. One thing we do want to do is we want to prepare ourselves so that we can launch, so that we can start gathering goods. So what's going into Juno that we know about? That's a bunch of miners. We do not have a catapult at Juno. That's a problem. We also don't have a catapult here at Pallas. Another problem. We don't have a whole lot of catapults. We sent them all back to Earth so that they could get their lasers. Now it's time to send ships out to the locations we want to go. So we'll measure those out. And, you've seen the examples of this. I'm not going to do it anymore on video. I did notice is I don't have any miners heading over. So I've got 1 miner at Pallas. I need another one there. I've got 1 miner at Juno, but I've got 3 of them showing up. So I may change what I'm doing a little bit. I only need 2 of them at Juno. I could either, and here we're going to see the example of the thing that I haven't shown before. So let's say I want to send these two miners, or one of them at the very least, from most of the way to Juno over to Pallas. Well, I've got one at Pallas. I'm okay with one. So I only have to send one more over. So then the question becomes, do I want to go from Juno to Pallas, which would be a 3-turn shipping, or I'm taking a trip from Earth to Juno. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's going to be really hard. So Earth, it came from here to Juno. It was going here. 12, somewhere around 6, around here is where the ships are currently. Yeah, this thing's so unflat. Also, for whatever reason, and I'm looking at this one, this one's fine, but my wife had this rolled up so that the high numbers were the ones that were accessible easily. Some people just don't think about things like that, I guess. But it seemed really weird to me. Okay. And I don't want to unleash another one when she's got one already ready. So somewhere around here. Now, what am I looking at? I'm looking at a plane going this way. This cut's perpendicular. It would be behind. So it would actually take 4 turns for that ship to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send one of these ships on the 2-turn journey instead. Yeah. From Juno over to Pallas. I've got one miner, 2 catapults going there. I've got plenty of catapults going here. Or no, I've got 1 catapult there. That's fine. I've got plenty of miners going there. So that's fine. So those are my 2 that I'm heading towards. I've got catapults where I want them. Now the question is, do I want to launch a potential attack to somewhere? And I think the answer is yeah, why not? Because there's going to be a truce. Well, Earth could fall. That would be a problem. Okay. Where would I like to go? Well, I'd love to fucking take Mars out. That would pretty much guarantee me the game. However, I know that this big squadron just arrived. I know that there's already forces there. I don't think that I can bust Mars. But I have missiles and they don't. Do I want to take a shot at it for the game? It'll be a 2-turn attack, a 2-turn launch. I mean, odd, yeah. I feel like this is the best turn that I have to make this attack. Even though I know that there's ships coming in, I've got a hell of a lot there of firepower. Yeah, we're going to go for it. Equally interesting question. What goes from Pallas to Mars, or how long does that take me? Pallas to Mars also looks like a 2-turn launch, and I've got a bunch of these that I'm going to launch as well. I'm going to just send, except I was supposed to go to Mars. Oops. That's all of Ares's plots. So now, and I'll take this die out of there, and not hide it somewhere where I never see it again. Now let's take a look at what Mars is doing. Now let's ignore the things I just placed, which are these and those. I can't be aware of that. This is what Mars is plotting here. So what is Mars plotting? Well, these need to recharge. I have a bunch of these. Jupiter's fine. Ceres is fine. I have an extra catapult if I need it, but I'm okay. Juno, I have a big force heading into Juno. That's a negotiation site. It doesn't make any difference. I'm still not allowed to stick around there. I was planning on launching my attack into Juno, but they made it, I mean, the truce is the truce. And It has nothing to do with anything else I choose. I could pull out of Juno. I don't see any real reason to, except that I could go home. Vesta is mine. I'm setting up to go there. I think the only thing I really want to do is I want to consider whether or not to pull out of this Juno space. I don't think Juno is worth breaking the truce for if the truce is going to happen. But do I want to stay or do I want to go? Odds, I keep my ships there and they convert. Evens, I look to see if I can get a good deal by heading home, which would perhaps help me save Mars. Okay, so what did we do? We traveled from Vesta to Juno. Ow. Wow, that hurt. All right, I need to do something to make this work. Curls a little too much. So Vesta to Juno is more or less this. That looks like it's 10, so somewhere around 5. So somewhere right around here is where we are. Now, we do a perpendicular and drop that across there. We're looking at, this is, which fleet is this? Jeez. This is Fleet C here. There's no agents or anything on there. Fleet C was going Vesta to Juno. Where would we want to put it? We would want to drop it on Mars. It's behind, so if we went to Mars, it would take us 3 turns to get to Mars. Still traveling as though we're coming from Vesta. We'd keep that letter at the same place. If we land here, next turn it gives us 2 turns, and again, I'm saying that's okay. So I'm going to hold off on doing that. I don't gain anything from that. The other one went from Mars. Now, there's a specific rule for going someplace to someplace else. So this was going from Mars to Juno, which looks like a 2-turner. Ooh. I think that was a 3-turner. It's probably not possible. Because we're first turn, second turn was the first time we launched any of these things. I think, yeah, second turn was the first time we launched these things. So it had to be a 2-turner. So we're calculating a ship that's going back from where it came from. And that had a specific rule. To return directly, places the task force counter on the ship transit corresponding to the origin point. If the task force has been in transit for 1 game turn, it would need 3 to return back. That's again the same cost, so I'm going to leave him flying as well. Is there anybody who needs to get jumped? I don't see anybody who needs to jump. Okay. So we've done our transit allocations. There is no combat. No one's in the same place except here. Oh. This guy has to leave. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, there is combat, and we got a problem. Okay. So we're leaving Vesta to go to, well, where do we want to go from Vesta? Vesta to Juno looks like, or to Earth. Either one looks okay. So that's a 2-turn. They're both going to be 2-turn jumps. There's a big fleet heading to Juno. I don't like that. I don't know if they're changing their position, but I feel like I'm best off heading back to Earth, because I'm not going to get to Juno as quickly as I headed there. So we put a 2-turner coming into Earth. And these guys may not have anything on them. They may not have missiles. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. Okay, that's all of them now. Combat phase, political interaction. All right. Now, if I recall correctly, we do Earth, negotiations, Mars. Let's check the order. Make sure that's correct. What do we do? Earth morale table, then possibly truce assassination, then Martian. Oh, first of all, let's give each side their points back. We haven't gotten to the point where Earth is getting points for every turn. Yeah, there's a lot to juggle around in your head. Let's see where negotiations is placed. Negotiations happen second turn, beginning on the game turn, and continuing each turn thereafter. Actually, we wouldn't be rolling, but it would happen before the Earth roll happens. But yeah, remember, this was declared on 2. This is turn 3. The truce is in effect, but negotiations don't start. Okay, so we roll the Earth table. Who's on Earth? Both will spend their maximum, I think. And that means there is a -2. All right, we get a word neutrality. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. Word neutrality. Should be spelled out somewhere. That may mean if they were supporting, they stopped supporting. Huh. Oh, where I'm going to find this. I don't remember reading this. All right, I've got to try to look. Earth morale index. That's not it. All right. I have to cut away and look for it. I didn't find it in the rules, but it is here. Martian morale index increases by 6. Remember, this happens before they roll. Any Ares Corporation ship or base under construction is delayed 1 turn. Oh, no. That's horrible. Okay, that was pretty bad. All right. So that was the roll for the Ares player. Now we get to roll on Mars. And what do we have on Mars? Both have 2. We'll spend both. So that's an even die roll, but now it's on a better chart. And we get a 1, Earth morale down 5. It's beginning to look bad for the Earth, isn't it? Something about that big fleet heading out during a truce. Hey, what's going on there, man? We have some questions. I just watched a video on the mess that was the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. Wow. Yeah. What if that had blown up? Well, that would be similar to this. Okay. That means we are hitting what? We just did the political interaction, logistics, and maintenance. Okay. Take a look at the Earth first. Nothing here. Nothing here, unless I've got like some catapults. Wow, I've got I've got multiple types of ships here. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize I've got additional, so I didn't actually need to send another miner there. No loss. This is the kind of thing, when you're doing too much logistical type stuff, there's always fuck-ups of that nature. No biggie. Okay. So I have no points coming in for the for the Ares Corporation still. And then these come through. There's no logistics points. We're good. Yeah, sort of. Let's take a look at our Martians. So Mars has a whole shitload of catapults. Enough to cover for Jupiter, enough to cover Ceres. That's one being transmitted. And then over here, we do not have a catapult. So we're going to get $3, but we have energy so we could build more ships if we want to. Now we have $6 there. This moves down first. I'm going to build for 4 of that 6 the first Martian transport ship. I've also pushed this down before that. Transports aren't as good for the Martians because they carry missiles. They don't have room for fighters. They're too tight. But they have a lot of firepower on board. And I'm not going to get fighters for a while. I'm not going to get missiles for an even longer while. So we're going to go ahead with that. And that gives us a couple of bucks left. We have enough production. I believe we're allowed only 2 ships on the production track. So we're going to start accumulating resources very shortly. We definitely wanted to build something big. The question was, did we want to start building another base somewhere? Bases are fucking expensive. They don't move. Yeah, they have a lot of firepower, but okay. Now, I deal with the ships that just came in terms of supplying them. Ares is going to supply this with lasers, missiles, and if it needed repairs or anything, that would happen as well. All right, we've dealt with the big mess of ships that were incoming, all from both sides. Planetary movement and game turn. And that's just moving these things around. And there's the effect of that. The problem I had with this was I put the tip of it, the metal tip, in my mouth and tried to pull, and that didn't work. I'm going to put a book or something on top of this to try to flatten it out because it's pretty fucking useless to me as it stands. For me, in the days of GMT, I have lots of really heavy things kicking around. All right. Going down, probably going to try to nap a little bit. Then I'll be playing some Raid. But yeah, you can kind of see what's going on. Is there a game happening here, man? Nobody's allowed to do anything. And it really, I don't know if that was what discouraged me. I really don't remember what did. I just feel like, there's a lot of weirdness going on. And, with these big fleets coming, these come in, it doesn't look like there's going to be an attack. It looks like they're going to break off. That was the whole thing, is like, okay, look, the difference between the hidden positioning, like if we were using task forces and no strength points in there, Earth would send this, maybe not, and they would hit and there would be a task force here and they would just be told that, all they would know is there's something near Mars. They wouldn't know the strength of it, so then they have to make a guess. Do I want to hit it or not? And then it just becomes did I get lucky? Did I hit something that's not there? By knowing where the ships are, you can actually position defenses in place and scare them away. And it becomes a game of maneuvers and the production and whatnot, rather than one of, did I guess right? And I don't know, what would you rather do? This could be really, really boring in the sense that you can always react to the enemy and you can get things quick enough into place to defend stuff. I don't know where all these ships came from here, but it looks like a pretty big pile. Not something that I might take a shot at if it weren't for the fact that there's a truce. But I might be willing to modify the truce roll to end the truce I mean, I'm going to modify the roll, right? No matter what, because I'm the guy who's here. And this is going to be the first turn of negotiations. I'm the only one who has an agent there. So I'll try to save a point for it, which shouldn't be hard because so far I've been able to save points for everything. Oh, the changes here, let's take a look. We've now got 8 Martian points are going to be there and only 4 Ares points, which does change the dynamics a little bit. So in order to affect the negotiations, I may not be able to put as many points into like the Martian table. Now, we look here. Okay, there's no automatic Martian victory, is there? No, the automatic victories come off of decreasing the other guy too much. Yeah, you can't win just off of high morale. Otherwise, everybody would have won World War I at the beginning. Right, the tape measure is doing a lot better. Here it is, Friday morning around 10 o'clock. I don't know what's going on. I'm like waking up at what I considered once upon a time kind of normal times. Not when I was working, but, you know. What sort of became the center for when I was awake. But it got, like it happens to happen on the one day where tomorrow I'm going to be up until, I don't know, like until this time, basically, unless I pass out like I did last week. All right, we're on ship movement. Again, just a mechanical functionality. We're going to just be pushing forward, but we'll put things up here so that I know that they have to be dealt with. Take a look at some of these arrivals for any dangers. Here, hey, we're gathering up and we can see there's a huge fleet of Earth ships heading for Mars, or Ares ships. That's problematic. Maybe we have a big fight on our hand, maybe we don't. We don't know. We swing over here. This is okay. Here, we've got a bunch of Martian ships hitting Juno. This is a problem. It would be breaking the truce. Because I've changed the rules so that you don't just get screwed if you've got ships in transit. Now, do you get a chance to change your mind? So, see, here's the thing. Political interaction phase happens here. That's when the truce is declared. Ship movement happens before ship transit allocation. So if you were in the one box, you immediately violate the truce. And I think we had that circumstance, which just doesn't seem fair. So there's got to be some chance to divert the fleet. And I've decided it's on landing. So you can send a fleet up in preparation for an attack or whatever, without violating the truce, essentially, without forcing the truce to be violated. Okay, so I do not want to violate the truce, so I'm going to have to figure out a transition for that. And also, I have to make choices elsewhere. So, for example, if I'm going to violate the Mars truce, or if we're going to end the truce because we have an agent at Juno, which is where the negotiations are handled, then maybe, you know, then I want this fleet in place. And with the breakaway, hey, you know, you got to make your decision one way or the other. And I didn't like the idea that you get forced to break the truce because you've already programmed an attack in, and then negotiations fires it off. It takes effect the next turn before you reach. The truce goes into effect, and then you just break it because you had ships coming in. That just doesn't seem fair. But the other alternative would be, if following the exact rules, you wouldn't be able to set something like this up where, hey, here I am coming in for an attack. Actually, I would. I just wouldn't be able to wait one more turn to see if the truce ends in time. Like, I would have to call off the attack early, which actually kind of makes sense too, right? Like, you shouldn't be able to send, you know, a huge war fleet out to station itself into position while the negotiations are going on. That feels a little wrong, although who knows. Anyway, I certainly didn't like the one effect. Meanwhile, I have to also make choices for Ares as to whether or not they're going to launch any. So can I get anything additional to Mars? Is there anything within range 1 of Mars? That's really what it comes down to. And I think the answer is just a plain old no. It is so hard to have range 1. You might get it. Yeah, just like here we have Earth and Vesta at about the closest place. Now Mars can be within range of the asteroids for a one-turn basis, but for the most part everything's pretty much a two-turn movement, unless it involves Jupiter. Notably, reserves from Ceres are still just a little too far away. This outer band of asteroids doesn't work. It's really only if Vesta and Mars are aligned perfectly. I guess Earth and Mars could be aligned closely enough that they can also, I mean, clearly they can be, that they can also launch attacks within one turn. But it is a really weird situation, and it's especially weird when you consider the capital planets of the two players are two of the places where they can make the quickest launches. Everything else is kind of tough launches to make. Now, stuff within the asteroid belt might be able to reach each other within one as well. I'm stupid and skipped ahead. I did the supplies, which shouldn't have happened yet. But I know that these guys are leaving. I just couldn't figure them out yet. So where do I want to go from Juno with that Martian fleet? Juno is here. I think probably, what is this? Not Varies, Vesta. I think probably to Vesta, get the fleet there instead. Because I don't have any agents on board or anything, so I got to shift over. And that's going to be a two-turn flight there. There's no question. Right. Yep, because everything is a two-turn flight. Interaction, Earth is our first place. Now, Martians have more points than they did, and Earth has less. Earth wants to save one for Juno. I think it's most important that I improve Earth morale, because I might be breaking the treaty or something. So I'm going to throw the 2 in, and the Martians are going to throw their 4 in, because why the hell not? So it's still 2-point penalty on Earth. And that gets us a 3, which I think goes up to a 1. That's word neutrality. What was word neutrality? Word neutrality, shit. You know, word is giving us points, right? No, it's Mars that gets free points. Word neutrality, Martian morale index increases by 6. Immediately. And any Ares Corporation ship or base under is delayed a turn. So yeah, our fleet once again gets pushed back. Ouch. Okay. We had to do negotiations first. Okay, hold on. I'm fine with that having happened, but negotiations, we're on the negotiations table. We're putting it 1 in our favor to give us the right to extend the truce. It's a 5. The ships that went in to Juno have already done their transition. We are going to declare the truce null and void. That's here on turn 4. So the truce ends, which means our fleet is ready to hit Mars and is able to stick around and do so next turn without any problem. Now we go to the Ares effect, and now we go to the Martian effect. Who's on Mars? Who's on first? Both have 2 agent points, but Earth only has 1. So it's again 1 in Mars's favor this time. We're up on the 8 table. So we get a 3, which I guess goes to a 2. which means Earth morale is down 5 more points. I mean, we're getting hit pretty hard by the morale tables on Earth. There's no question about that. We're not on turn 5 yet, so we don't start getting the bonuses there. Logistics and maintenance. What's online, what's not? Let's go to the logistics and maintenance. Okay. So the first thing is, does the Earth have anything online? We still don't have catapults here? What the hell? Still don't have catapults here. We have nothing coming to us. We're at a big 0. Let's see, word may grant points. Okay. If Mars is friendly 2 to the Martian player, yeah. All right, Martians have this and this, and we have 3 catapults in play, so we can take both. So we get 6 production points. We're still on the 1 to 5, so we're still only able to have 2 ships on the chart, which is what we have. So we really can't spend anything additional, which to me means these move forward. And that's about it. And that's the end of the turn. So we rotate the planets. I'll be back in a moment because we've got to talk. Thing, as I cut through the planetary line, I almost screwed things up. I almost got Juno to not move just because, hey, it's part of this line. I moved all of those, right? Nah, because I kind of cut this way. And I just missed it. I think that's going to be very possible. And, you know, how much of a difference does it make? You know, it's completely unrealistic that it might happen like that, right? But that kind of mistake could happen. But it would have very little effect on actual play. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of like not that big a deal if the planets get misaligned. Except that Cthulhu, no, that's if the stars are right. Whatever. All right. So next turn is a huge one. There's no truce, and there will not be. And there's a huge Earth fleet going into Mars, and there's no reinforcements coming into Mars. So we're going to have a hell of a battle on this next turn. And because of that, I'm setting this one up. I'm expecting the next turn to basically encompass that massive battle, which might just end the game. This is the whole thing. And this is kind of the... So the other player who mentioned to me, hey, I played this only once, and my Martians wiped out the Ares, you know, took Earth on, you know, basically the first couple turns of the game. Yeah, it's a real possibility. Now, I think Earth is at its maximal power right now. This is the time when taking Mars would make sense. If I lose this battle, how big a deal is it? Well, it's kind of interesting, because you don't lose a battle all at once. The Ares fleet might get mauled, but the game ain't over, right? It might be for all intents and purposes, and this might be how my game ended. It might be for all intents and purposes, if the Ares fleet gets mauled, the game is over. I think if Mars gets taken, the game is over, because Ares can then just try to fortify Mars, and there's absolutely no capability on any of the asteroids or on Jupiter to be able to generate more ships, which means the Martians would have to be really, really lucky to make use of this, you know, the fleet here at Vesta to be able to, like, capture anything of importance. And that seems pretty unlikely. Now, taking Earth is a lot harder than taking Mars. Mars only has a couple of bases on it. Earth has 6. You have to take out all the Earth bases to take Earth. And that's why I feel like this is this is the high point for the Earth, right? Yeah, sure, they have less ships than the Martians do. Their productive capabilities are higher, but over the long term. But I have missiles. The Martians will not have their fighters. It's turn 5. It's the turn they get them, but they don't get them until the logistics phase. So I have a single chance to land this blow, and that's why I'm going to go ahead with it. All right, let's send this one up. It's probably, well, long enough anyway. And then the next one is going to be mainly a frame around a single battle, which we might actually, you know, given how long the battles were, I'm not going to go into as much detail, right? I'm not going to show you the tactical movements and all the choices there. So I expect I'll be able to get it all on one video instead of breaking it up. Because what I was going to say was, given that the Palace 1 and Palace 2 battles were both pretty hefty, the rest of the turn doesn't take that long, though. But still, given that those were pretty hefty, I kind of do expect that I'm going to go into some detail in the battle, and that it's going to be a meaty video with, you know, such a huge battle going on.